While the world debates whether China can innovate, China has quietly built an entirely different version of daily life. One where flooding is absorbed before it begins. One where you buy street food without ever touching your wallet. One where a train covers the distance of London to Edinburgh in under 2 hours. Here's the thing. These are not distant promises. They are running right now at a scale no other country has matched. Today we count down 7 Chinese solutions that will absolutely blow your mind. These are masterclasses in efficiency, transforming how over 1 billion people eat, move, pay, and live. Watch until the end, because number 1, the sponge city, seems impossible until you see how China's urban engineering and ancient water wisdom combine to build cities that literally absorb a monsoon. Solution 7, QR code, mobile payments. Let us start with one that redefined what money even looks like. China did not just adopt mobile payments, it perfected them at a speed and scale that left the rest of the world standing still. The solution is simple: a small square of black and white pixels, a smartphone, and a 2-second scan. That is all it takes to buy anything from a luxury handbag in Shanghai to a steamed bun from a street cart in a rural village. Here's the thing: WeChat Pay and Alipay together serve over 1 billion users. Translation: more people pay digitally in China than the entire population of Europe combined. Vendors who once handled crumpled notes now display a printed QR code on a laminated sheet, and the transaction is done before you have even put your phone back in your pocket. And get this, the system requires 0 card terminals, 0 bank machines, and 0 infrastructure beyond a smartphone signal. The real genius is how it leapfrogged the credit card era entirely. The global question is obvious. Why hasn't every developing nation adopted this overnight? The answer is mostly regulatory and banking, inertia. But more and more countries are trying. But if you think cashless payments are mind-blowing, wait until you see how China moves people. Solution 6, the high-speed rail network. China did not invent high-speed rail. Japan's Shinkansen did that back in 1964. But what China did with the idea is breathtaking. Bottom line, China built more high-speed rail in 20 years than the rest of the world combined has built across an entire century. Today, China's network stretches over 45,000 kilometers, enough track to circle the Earth more than once. Trains cruise at 350 kilometers per hour, and the Beijing to Shanghai route, over 1,000 kilometers, takes just 4 hours and 18 minutes. And get this, the system carries over 4 billion passengers every single year. Translation: more than half the world's entire population riding one country's train network in 12 months. The real genius is the integration. Stations feed directly into metro systems, which connect to bike share docks, which link to QR pay apps. Every piece speaks to the next. China simply built it all at a scale that rewrote what modern infrastructure can look like. But if you think scale is impressive, wait until you see how China is solving a problem every major city on Earth dreads. Solution 5, dockless bike sharing traffic, pollution, and the infamous last mile problem. The short gap between a metro station and your front door that makes public transport feel incomplete. China's solution is simple: bright-colored bicycles parked everywhere, unlocked by a QR code, and returned anywhere within the city. Mobike and Hello Bike have deployed tens of millions of bicycles across hundreds of Chinese cities. There are no fixed stations. Park the bike, lock it with a click, and walk away. The next rider finds it on a map, scans it, and rides on. Here's the thing: this created a form of public transport requiring almost zero fixed infrastructure. The app tracks every bike via GPS, handles payment, and even penalizes users who park irresponsibly. The real genius is how elegantly digital integration replaced concrete and steel. Which of these Chinese solutions do you wish existed in your country? Drop it in the comments. We read every single one. Some cities from Paris to New York are starting to copy this model. But China deployed it first, faster, and at an unmatched scale. But here is where it gets truly mind-blowing. When artificial intelligence steps in to run an entire city's traffic. Solution 4, the City Brain AI traffic system. Hangzhou used to have one of the most congested roads in China. Then Alibaba turned the city into a living, breathing, self-regulating organism. The City Brain is an artificial intelligence platform that connects cameras, sensors, traffic lights, ambulance dispatch systems, and public transport into one continuous intelligence network. And get this, When an emergency vehicle needs to pass, the city brain turns traffic green along its entire route in advance, shaving response times in Hangzhou by nearly 50%. Translation: people's lives are being saved by an algorithm adjusting traffic signals in real time before a human dispatcher has even finished typing the address. The real genius is the sheer volume of data it processes. Every vehicle, every intersection, every bus delay, calculated and rerouted in seconds. Beijing's public service platform now handles more than 100 queries per hour with 94% accuracy, double the efficiency of human operators. The city brain model is already being exported to cities in Southeast Asia. Here's the thing: China is not just solving its own traffic problem. It is beta testing the urban operating system of the future, and the world is watching. But if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that button and the bell. Our solution is one you need to see to believe. Solution 3: autonomous delivery robots. Think about the last time a delivery arrived at your door. Somewhere between the warehouse and your hands, a person drove a vehicle, navigated traffic, found parking, and knocked on your door. China looked at that chain and asked, what if the last part of that journey was handled by a robot? JD.com and Meituan have deployed thousands of autonomous delivery robots across Chinese campuses, residential compounds, and city streets. These compact machines navigate pavements using sensors and AI, read building access codes, haul lifts, and deliver packages directly to your floor. The solution is simple: remove the final costly, time-consuming human step from last-mile delivery without removing convenience. And get this, during peak periods like China's Singles' Day shopping festival on the 11th of November, these robots handle hundreds of thousands of deliveries per day without a single driver on the road. The real genius is what this means for congestion, emissions, and cost. Each robot replaces dozens of delivery trips per shift. The global question is regulation. Most Western cities have not yet created legal frameworks for robots on public pavements. But here is where it gets truly mind-blowing. China is solving problems that haven't even fully emerged yet in other countries, simply because it has the scale to force solutions into existence. Solution 2: smart vertical farming. China feeds nearly 1.4 billion people, roughly 18% of the world's population, on less than 9% of the world's arable land. Here's the thing: that equation does not add up with traditional farming. So China built farms that go upward instead of outward. Smart vertical farms in cities like Shanghai and Shenzhen stack crops in climate-controlled towers using LED lighting, tuned to the exact wavelength plants need, in hydroponic systems that use 90% less water than conventional agriculture. AI sensors monitor each plant's growth, humidity, and nutrition in real time. Translation: a single vertical farm the size of a city block can produce the equivalent of dozens of traditional farmland hectares 365 days a year, regardless of drought or season. The real genius is what it eliminates: long supply chains, pesticides, weather dependency, and transport emissions. And get this: as global populations urbanize and arable land shrinks worldwide, China's mastery of vertical farming positions it as the nation that may feed the cities of tomorrow. This model is already being studied and adopted in Japan, Singapore, and the Netherlands. But none of these, not the payments, not the trains, not the robots, quite prepares you for number 1. Solution 1: the sponge city. Every major city in the world faces the same terrifying problem. Too much rain at once turns streets into rivers, floods homes, and kills. The conventional answer has always been gray infrastructure. Bigger drains, larger pipes, concrete channels that rush water away as fast as possible. China looked at that model and recognized a fundamental flaw. You cannot outdrain a monsoon. So China built cities that absorb it instead. The sponge city concept, adopted as national policy in 2014, reimagines the urban surface as a living water management system. Permeable pavements filter rain into underground storage. Green roofs soak up rainfall before it reaches the street. Restored wetlands act as natural reservoirs. Underground tanks hold excess water during storms and release it slowly during dry periods, recharging the groundwater below. Wuhan, a megacity that once flooded so severely that lakes shrank by 40%, became China's leading sponge city. Nearly 400 sponge projects were implemented across 2 demonstration districts. In Wuhan's Nanganku Park, a polluted drainage ditch was transformed into permeable paths, artificial ponds, and wetlands. Local temperatures dropped by 2 to 3 degrees Celsius and stormwater runoff fell by around 40%. The real genius is that this is not just engineering, it is a philosophy. Rather than fighting water, the sponge city works with it. China's central government now mandates that by 2030, 80% of its urban space must include sponge city adaptations capable of recycling at least 70% of rainfall. Over 87 cities are already in various stages of implementation. Bottom line, the sponge city is not a feature added to a city. It is a complete rethinking of what a city is made of. 7 times that a country looked at a problem, flooding, congestion, hunger, payments, transport logistics, and last-mile delivery, and chose to solve it not incrementally, but at a scale that reshaped daily life for hundreds of millions of people. The world often looks to Silicon Valley for innovation, but here's the thing. The most mind-blowing solutions to everyday problems are often found where necessity meets ingenuity and where engineers and 1.4 billion people are all pointed in the same direction. China is not just solving Chinese problems. It is pressure testing solutions the rest of the world will eventually need. Hit subscribe if you want to discover more ingenious ideas from around the world, because the next video might just change the way you see your own city.